Actually, we have come to the end of this section. The last homework about the calculator, we're going to skip that because anybody can type into the calculator. In fact, I'm including a link below the video from Math Help. They have a program to find the inverse matrix, where they not just tell you what the inverse is, but also show you all the steps of getting there. In fact, that's what I am doing today. So please do your homework for this section, okay? And you can feel free to use that calculator, but only as a guidance. That's what I'm gonna do. Is I type in the problem and the calculator show me how to do it, but I do it myself. But in between steps, then I check my progress to make sure I'm doing it well, not messed up, because otherwise I just have way too many mistakes. So that is what I'm doing. So for homework of this section, I only ask you to do 4 problems. Problem 7, 11, 29, and 37. And I think 7, 11, and 29 are fairly short. Well, yeah, it's not too terrible. 7 and 11 tell you to do matrix multiplication. And then problem 37, which is a long, tedious thing that I think you should do 1. Okay. Besides all the examples, of course. Please do all the examples yourself. Make sure you know how, and then you shouldn't have any trouble doing the homework. So please go do your homework, and then I want to talk about some of them. Now that you're done with your homework, let's look at problem 37. The most tedious part. Okay, I have it on the I typed this into the inverse calculator from eMath Help or something like that. Yeah, emathhelp.net, and they have and then I have a copied here that I'm gonna go follow in order to get to the end of this, since I make these little mistakes a lot. So doing this will prevent me from making mistakes. So I'll do exactly what it says, and you can do the same. Okay, just follow what this thing says. If you the main reason of following it is just to catch any mistakes that I might make, because we're doing a whole ton of tiny little addition, subtraction, multiplication, which drives me nuts basically. So that's what we're gonna do. So step 1, divide row 1 by 6. Okay, so this is row 1. Okay, and then we'll divide it by 6. Row 1 times 1 6. I'll write it this way. There's a multiplication here. So that's all we're gonna do is take row 1 and divide it by 6. So I'll draw a new bracket. Row 1 divided by 6 gives me, that's 1. Okay, that's minus 5 over 6. And that's minus 1 over 6. And then 1 over 6. Oops, 1 over 6. Okay, we need to do it all the way across. And by the way, here is, I forgot to mention, this is our original problem, okay? And I write down all the numbers down here, 6, minus 5, minus 1, etc. And I don't write this part. This part comes later. And so I write down all the numbers in style. Things has to be ordered properly though, okay? The first row has to be X, the second row Y, the third row Z, so that everything's lined up. If anything here is reversed here, you have to fix it first before you write it down into the matrix. So anyways, I wrote it down in order, and then this side will have the identity matrix, which has 1 down the diagonal and 0 everywhere else. Then once we've done that, then we can do things such as multiplying a row by a specific number, or multiplying a row by a specific number, then add it to a second row to replace that row that you're adding to. Okay, so those are the only 2 things we're allowed to do. And then that is the process. A very tedious process, in my opinion. Anyway, so we have to do that. So the next 0 divided by 6 is 0. Let's continue this thing. Okay, and the same here. So we finished we did this stuff, okay? And then so the next step we're gonna do is we'll do add row 1 to row 2. That row 1 refers to the new row 1 that I just made, and row 2 is the old one, okay? And so we'll add the row 1, the new one, okay, plus row 2, the old one. Right now, we don't have any new row 2, so the old and new are the same thing. But we have a new row 1, and so we'll always use the new one. And so adding the row 1 to the old row 2 give us, this will be 0, all right? And then this will be 2 minus 5, 6. Okay, that is, that's 12 minus 5 is 7, right? So it's 7, 6. And then this one, 1 minus 1, 6, that is 5, 6. Next, what are we doing again? Oh, this plus that, okay? 1, 6 plus 0 is 1, 6. We're doing the new row 1 plus old row 2. So this plus this row plus that row. So that is 1, and this is also, no, wait, what am I talking about? Yeah, this plus that is 1, and this plus that is 0. And be very careful. It's so easy for me to mess up doing this type of thing. Okay, so now that I did this, I'm going to double check to make sure everything look okay. Well, this is, yeah, okay, I'm looking at the wrong row. I mean, wrong matrix. But okay, let's see. And let me double check. Okay. And everything is okay. I haven't made any mistakes so far. That's good. And then next, next, we are going to take row 1 and then we're going to knock out this one, okay? This says subtract in the instructions here. And it just subtract just means multiply by negative value. So we're going to take row 1. Basically, we need to knock this thing into 0, okay? Because our goal is to turn this into this so that it becomes 1, 0, 0. So this needs to turn into 0. And we'll do that by taking row 1 multiplied by minus 3. That'll kill it, right? And then add to it. So row 1, we shall take row 1 times negative 3 and then add it to row 3. All right, so row 1 right here times minus 3 plus 3, that will give us 0. Next, this thing times minus 3 plus 3. I'm going to use the calculator to do that so that I don't get too confused. So pulling out the calculator, what am I doing? Row 1, that's minus 5, 6. I'll type it in, minus 5 over 6, okay, times negative 3, times negative 3, times negative 3, and row 1, right? Yeah, times negative 3, and then add it to row 3. That's this thing, so plus 3. And that's 11 halves. All right, so I'll write that down. I think a lot of times I make mistake when I try to do things in my head, and I get confused by all the negative signs and all that stuff. So anyway, next we have, again, row 1 times 3. So minus 1, 6 times 3, that's minus 1 half, okay? And then add it to 2, that's 2 minus 1 half, that's 1 and a half, yeah, which is 3 halves. I will just do that because I can check in a little bit if I got the numbers wrong. And 6, next, this thing times minus 3, that gives it minus 1 half, plus 0 is minus 1 half. Minus 1 half. Next, row 1 times 3 added to row 3, they're all 0, so everything's 0. Next, row 1 times 3 added to this thing, that's 1. All right, so let me check to make sure I got everything right. What do I have? Okay, row 1, we should have 0, 11 halves, 5 halves. Yeah, it says 5. Oh no, I got this wrong. And then minus half, 0, 1. So this one's wrong. Let me do this one again. It's minus 1, 6, right? No, it's not minus 1, 6. It says 1, 6. So I got this wrong in the beginning. How did I do that? We got this one by dividing this thing by 1, 6. Did I write this wrong? minus 1 6? Oh, never mind, it is minus 1 6. So anyway, let me see where I got wrong. Okay, so we have row 1 and then times minus 3. Oh, it becomes positive. It will become positive 1 6 plus 2. That's 2 and 1 6. That's or something. No, I'm still confused. What am I talking about? Let me try again. Row 1 times and then add it to row 3, right? Let me just look at this, see where I messed up. I don't even know what I was confused about. Minus 1/2 times minus 1 6 times minus 3 is positive 1/2. Positive 1/2 plus 2 is positive 5/2. So how did I even mess up? I have no idea. But let's get rid of that. It's 5/2. Yeah, see, I did this in my head and then I got confused in there somewhere and screwed up. If I had done it with a calculator, that would have worked out better. Anyway, but it seems like an easy enough problem, right? But I don't know what I did. Anyway, so this is correct. So that's where it's nice to have the calculator, so to check me each step. Next, let's, what are we doing here? We are turning this thing into 1 because the goal here is turn all numbers down the diagonal into 1. So the next step, we're going to turn this thing into 1. And we can do that by multiplying this number by 6/7. Okay, then it's just the fraction that multiply, it'll turn it into 1. All right, so we'll do that. So what we're doing here is we'll take row 2, and multiply it by what was it? 6/7. 6/7. The goal turning this into 1. So row 2 being multiplied by 6/7 gives us, the first one is 0, so that's just 0. 7 6 times 6/7, that will be 1 as we want it. And let's see, okay. And next, 5 6 times 6/7, that gives you 5 7. 5 7. All right. And the next part, everything, row 2 is still multiplied by 6/7. So that gives you what? 1/7, right? Yeah, I think so. 1/7. And next, row 2 multiplied by 6/7. That's just 6/7. 6/7. Okay. And then finally, row 2 multiplied by, that's 0. Multiply anything, still 0. I think I wrote these a little bit big, but I guess it's okay. So do I have row 2 correct? 0 1 5 7 1 7 6 7 0. Okay, that looks pretty good. So next, we're going to add row 2 multiplied by 5 6 to row 1. All right, so the next step we're going to do is, we ran out of space over there, but we're going to take the new row 2, okay? We'll write our procedure here. So we'll take row 2, which is right here, this one, and multiply by 5 6. Multiply by 5/6, and then we're going to add it to row 1, and then make it go into row 1. Row 1's this one right here. That's the only one we have. So row 2 times 5/6, the first one, that's just 0. Add it to row 1, that's still 1, okay? The result will be written on whatever we're adding to. So this is still 1. Next, this thing times 5 6, and then add it to row 1, that gives us 0. So this step, we're knocking this thing into 0. All right, so that's good. And then next, row 2 times 5 6, added to row 1. Let's pull out the calculator to do that. Okay, let's see. Because, so row 2 times 5/6, right? Yeah, okay. So we have 5/7 times 5/6. And then added to row 1, and added to, what is it? What are we doing here? This third item. Added to row 1 is this one. Added to negative 1 6. All right, see, that's what I have here. Let's see if that should be okay. So that I got 3/7. 3/7? I guess that's okay. Anyway, so let's write down 3, 7 for now. 3, 7. Actually, I think I'll check to see if it is 3, 7 to make sure. Yep, it is 3, 7. So that's good. And then next, what are we doing again? Row 2. This one times 5, 6. And add it to row 1. Yeah. So this is, let's clear that. Do this. We'll use the calculator. So row 2, we're doing this one times 5, 6. 5 divided by 6 times 1, 7, right? 1 divided by 7. And then add it to row 2 times 5, 6. Add it to row 1. This thing is right here. Add it 1, 6. Add it 1 over 6. Okay, so that's what I have. And let's see, I got 2 7s. So we'll write that down. This is 2 7. Is that correct? Yep, it is. So far, see, if I use the calculator, I do much better. And then, but I have a tendency to not want to bother using the calculator. So then the things go to pot. So next, we'll do this one, which is 6 7 times 5 6. That will cancel, the 6 cancel out, so we have 5 7. 5 7 added to 0, yes, is 5 7. So I'll do this one in my head, see if I get it wrong. 5 7. Okay, and then actually I'll check right now. Yep, this one I got correct. And lastly, row 2 times 5 6, that's 0, and added to 0, so that's still 0. Okay, so that is the next part. And so let me double check everything. And after I did this, I got 1 0, 3 7, 2 7, 5 7, and 0. All right, so far so good. And then so let's do the next step. The next step is we're gonna take row 2 multiplied by negative 11 and halves. Okay, negative 11 halves. All right. And what we're going to do is, if we take row 2 and multiply by negative 11 halves, and then add it to row 3. Here's row 3 right here. What are we doing? We're killing this thing. Okay, that's only the reason to multiply by 11 halves. There's the 11 halves right here. So we'll take row 2 and multiply by negative 11 halves, minus, and then add it to row 3 down here. Okay, because row 2 has a 1 here. If you multiply by negative 11 halves, add it to that, that'll knock it out. Okay, first 0 times that, add that, that is still 0. Next, this 1 times negative 11 halves plus the positive 1, that is also 0. So the last part, this, I will use the calculator. Whoa, my calculator fell out. It's okay. So then, so the last part, what are we doing? We're doing row 2, that is this thing, right, times negative 11 halves. So let's type it in. 5 divided by 7 times 11 minus negative 11 divided by 2. Yes. And then add it to, what are we adding? Add it to row 3. Add to 5 halves plus 5 divided by 2. So I got that. And that should be, what does it say? Minus 10 over 7. Okay. I got minus 10 over 7. Let's check to see if I type in something wrong. That's correct. Oh, wow. And that is so good. And so next, row 2, continuing, this thing has to be multiplied by minus 11 halves plus that. So let's do that too. Clear? And row 2, okay, that's 1 divided by 7 times 1 divided by 7 times what? Negative 11 over 2 minus 11 divided by 2. And then plus, this one is going to be added to this, right? What are we doing? Yeah, row 2 times negative 11 plus row 3. Here's row 2. This is row 3. So and then plus negative 1 half. And that should be it. So let's see what it says. Minus 9/7. Is that right? That looks right. I'm doing fantastic. Well, it really helps when I type it into the calculator. Okay, so that's good. Next, row 2. What is row 2 now? It's 6/7 times, yeah, we have to keep going like this. So next, let's do 6/7. 6 divided by 7 times negative 11/2. And then plus 0. So that should be equal to minus, what does it say? Negative 33/7. Still correct, yes. But like I said, the calculator is doing much better than me. So last one, row 2 times whatever, that's 0. So it's still 0 plus the 1, that is just 1. So we have come this far. So far so good, okay? And so next, next we are going to, let's see. Well, next I'm going to put down my calculator and look at the next step that we're going to be doing. All right, so the next step we are going to do is we're going to do row 3. It's going to be multiplied by, okay, we are going to, what? Let me see, where are we? Right here. Okay, now we need to turn this thing into 1, okay? Because we need the diagonal down to be 1. So this needs to be 1, and that will become 1 when we multiply this thing by, you know, something that makes it 1. So let's do that. To make it 1, we'll write the matrix over here a little bit to give ourselves a little more space. Let's see. So right now we're just taking row 3 in here. Row 3 will be multiplied by 7/10 negative. Okay, that will make it into 1, right? So let's do that. Row 3 multiplied by 7/10. We'll write it down here. That gives us 0, 0, yeah, 1. Okay, and then this part, then we need to multiply. That should be 9/10. Right? Because the 7 cancels out, negative sign cancels out. And this should be 33/10. Okay? Again, the 7 cancels out, negative sign cancels out. And the last one is just negative 7/10. All right. So we have 0, 0, 1 here. That's the next step. And let's see, next. Okay, this calculator is doing really well. Some of the calculators I saw, they just make you do something weird and trashy. Let's see. Subtract. Okay, so 9/10, 33/10, negative 7/10. All right, so next we're going to do something to row 1. Row 1 is right here now. We are going to, since this is 1, we're going to knock that out by taking row 3 multiplied by the 7/3 or something like that. Row 3, what? Why is that? Yeah. Let me see what they're talking about. Give me a second here. Yeah, okay, I forgot. The calculator does subtraction. We just multiply by the negative number. That's why I was confused for a second there. So we'll take row 3 multiplied by negative 7/3. That way, when you multiply that, that will negative, yeah, and then add it to this thing, okay? What am I talking about? It's not, we're not multiplying, we're adding. So it's just 3/7. So multiply by 3/7 except negative, and then add it to row 1. That will totally knock that out. Okay? So the first thing is the zeros. When you multiply, and it will still be what it was before, and it was 1. All right. So this part stays. Okay? This part stays. This part will become 0. Yeah. Okay. And then next, we need row 3 times whatever, and we need to better do that on the calculator. So To do that on the calculator, we have 9/10, this thing, okay, times negative 3/7 added to that thing. Because we said row 3 times negative 3/7 added to row 1, okay? So we need to do that. 9 divided by 10 times negative 3/7, and then added to 2/7 plus 2 divided by 7. Okay, so that's what I have here, and that equals to minus 1/10. Okay, so I'll write down here minus 1/10. 1 divided by 10, 1/10. Okay, so that looks good. Next, the row 3, this thing. We're doing the same thing. This thing times, and this is 33/10. 33 divided by 10. Okay, times negative 1/3 times negative 3/7, negative 3/7, and then plus 5/7, plus 5/7. That equals to let's see, minus 7/10. Okay, that looks good. Minus 7/10. And the last thing is right here, this thing times negative 3/7. That's easy to do. I'll do this in my head. That will be 7 cancel out. That'd be 3/10. Okay, and then add to 0. That's just 3/10. And that is also correct. So far so good. So next step, we will have, let's see, 3, 7, right. So whenever the calculator says subtract, that just means you multiply by the negative value and add, okay? It's easier to add than subtract, because subtracting, yeah, I think so. So you're just multiplying by the negative value is effectively is the same as subtracting. So anyway, the last step we're going to do, subtract row 3 multiplied by 5/7. So row 3 need to multiply. What are we doing here? So we have this thing left, okay? And we need to knock it out by taking row 3 and multiply by the negative of this, and then add it to it. Okay, it will get rid of it. So the last step we're going to do is called, we'll take row 3 and multiply by the what? Negative 5/7, okay, minus 5/7, and then add it to row 2. That's the plan. To do that, we will we'll have, okay, so row 3 times whatever, and then add it here. These two will stay the same because, yeah, because these are 0. Okay, so you just copy these down. And finally, the 1 times minus, so that will become 0, right? 1 times minus and plus, that becomes 0. That was the whole point of us doing that. And so the last part is we need to do, let's see. Well, I'm afraid that I have to finish this video in the next video. I mean, finish this section in the next video because I have to go to town now to buy some screws.